everybody, it's Warren here. I wanted to jump on and do a quick video because I've been getting a lot of questions asking about what I do at my age. I know I'm old as dirt, but I'm in my 50s, early 50s, and what I do as far as, training, nutrition, my whole lifestyle at this age, because it obviously is very different from when you're 20 or even 30 or even 40 for that matter for a lot of people. I'm pretty fortunate that I have trained my whole life. So, and in a way that's a blessing and a curse. The fact is when you're 50, you can't train like you're 20. And for some stupid reason, I tend to try and train like I'm 20 all the time, and I pay for it. So I wanted to discuss, a bunch of reasons and things to make sure that basically things you make sure that you do when you're training, when you're an older dude or girl for that matter too. It's not just men. But this is definitely sent out to the older guys out there and older folks that are training. Basically, number one, make sure you're warmed up. Things tend to be a lot tighter as you get older. There's a lot less flexibility in your joints, tendons, ligaments, all that kind of stuff as you get older. That's a fact. So just make sure you're warmed up. I don't mean do like a half an hour of cardio for a warm up, but give her 5-10 minutes on a treadmill. Just get things moving. Get the blood pumping into your muscles in your body. Just get things warmed up. It's super, super important. Once I started doing that, it eliminated some of my injuries and definitely helped me train a lot better in my 50s. Recovery time. Pay attention to your recovery time. When I was 20 and I would train hard, I could friggin' train 7 days a week. You hurt, but nothing really broke. It's just kind of what it was. Now I have to be very careful. Sometimes even if I do 2 really, really intense training days to extreme failure, I almost need to take that 3rd day off. But I try to do 3 days, hard and intense, then I'm going to take a day off. And I do, on those day offs, I tend to do a fair bit of yoga, a little more mobility, flexibility, kind of static strength stuff. I'll use bands and things like that. I'm not pushing it crazy hard. Again, I want to keep my flexibility and be able to stay limber, on those days off as well. So really watch your recovery time. If you're hurt, don't work it again. You could get away with that when you're younger. You can't get away with that when you're in your 50s. Technique, you really need to pay attention to technique. Don't start throwing weights. Keep things in great form, everything in alignment. Again, we break a lot easier at this age. Things tend to slip out of place. Once they've slipped out a couple times, everything's just kind of loose. So make sure your form is super, super tight. Prime example, 3 days ago, I was doing shoulders, and I do really light shoulders because of shoulder injuries. I've torn both my rotator cuffs. My left shoulder's tender, so I use 20 to 25 pound dumbbells to do all my flies and all that kind of stuff, and any of my delts, my lateral raises and anything like that. I was getting tired. Next thing you know, and I'm all time under tension, like I will not let my muscles relax on those light weights. With those light weights, you can train that way. You can still build muscle. I don't care what anybody says. You can use lighter weights, but you have to really focus on your mind over muscle connection. Well, I was getting tired. Next thing you know, I'm throwing the weights. All of a sudden, I shift my back. Wouldn't happen when I was young. So really, really, really watch your form. It's so, so important. Don't find yourself throwing weight. Don't find yourself losing your form. If you do, either stop the exercise you're doing or switch to a lighter weight. Just my opinion, and it works for me. Really pay attention to your injuries and your pains. I remember I used to work through things. That was my thing, right? I would hurt. I would shift my back. I would have a bad elbow. And it's like, screw that shit. I'm just going to friggin' hammer through it, and I don't give a shit. Well, all of a sudden, hammering through it and not giving a shit at our age, again, because our tendons, ligaments, all that kind of stuff, our joints aren't in as good a shape, you start, blasting through stuff. you're going to injure more. So instead of taking maybe a week or two off or 3 weeks and working around it, which is a whole nother topic, but instead of doing that, all you're doing is aggravating it, injuring it more, and you're gonna have to take more time off. So if you have any injuries like that, just make sure that you pay attention to it and don't work it if it's sore, plain and simple. If you've got an injury, don't aggravate it more. Take it real cool. Part 2 of that is I learned to work around it, and that was with my shoulders. I didn't want to quit. Especially with my left shoulder. I no friggin' way I'm gonna let it quit. So my rotator cuff is right in here. It's tender. I can feel it even right now. I can feel it where I have issues, right? So what I do is I tend to work the muscles around it. And again, it comes down to mind-muscle connection. So if you can really focus on connecting your muscles on a string, almost like a puppet, to your mind, what you can do is you can work around it. Work more rear delt, front delt, all around that spot. You will feel it in that spot, but you're not going to aggravate it more. So I didn't stop my workouts. I just changed how I did my workouts so that I could work around that injury. And I've had little injuries all along this last 15 months since I began this transformation. A big injury, which really just about took me out, but I refused to let it, was I shifted my collarbone. You can see still a lump because it got sore in the last couple of days again. But I spent about 3 months with it out of place, and that was from doing some deadlifts, actually like a straight-legged kind of deadlift. And I ended up going way too heavy, my own fault, stupid. Next thing you know, I got a lot of pain in here, which goes all the way from my shoulder joint in. It's my clavicle, my collarbone. It shifted. It took me a long time to get it straightened out, but I worked around it. But that meant that I could not do military press. I had to be so careful with my shoulder exercises, chest exercises, even my back, doing lat pull downs, bent over rows as I was pulling was hard on it. Everything was hard on it. So I was so careful in working around it and not damaging it more. But I didn't quit. So don't quit if you get injured. Number one, and I shouldn't say don't quit. If the doctor tells you to quit, quit. If you have a serious injury, go to the doctor and get it looked at. I am just relaying the information that works for me and what worked for me in the last 15 months and from my experience in my younger years of training and being an athlete. Which comes to the next point. Train like an athlete. Bodybuilding, I love bodybuilding. I love the whole concept of just being a big ass dude, being a freak. I love people that can get freakishly huge. I think it's amazing. I think it's awesome. Some people think it's ugly. I fully understand the commitment, the dedication to get to that. So I love bodybuilding and I love big ass dudes and girls. I think that's friggin' awesome. Totally appreciate it and love it. I found at my age though, and I used to be like that when I was younger, but at my age, I found I started adding in more calisthenics, more yoga, more static stuff, trying to train more like an athlete, not one-dimensional. To me, bodybuilding is one-dimensional. You just want to get big, right? We all know big dudes that can't even barely lift their shoulders. They don't have a bunch of mobility and flexibility. That's great if that's what you want. Not knocking, I think it's amazing. To me, at my age, what has helped me just in the last few months, really focusing on calisthenics and the mobility thing, which is flexibility and strength. I want to be able to move. I want to be able to do things. I want to be able to hang from the monkey bars kind of thing and swing, when I got with the grandkids out at the park. I want to be able to do that kind of stuff. To me, so to be able to do that, I have to be able to train like an athlete. So when I work out, I add in athletic exercises with my stuff like box jumps and things like that. So, and burpees and anything like that. High knee, people like the HIIT cardio stuff. I'm not a big HIIT cardio guy, but I really do dig the calisthenics thing. And calisthenics is a whole nother topic, but I've started doing that 2 days a week now and I love it. And it's helped. What it's done as well, training like an athlete like that, is it's helped loosen up my joints. It's strengthened my shoulders. Since I started calisthenics, I'm able to do things that I couldn't before. And I know for a fact that it's because of that exact reason and training like an athlete. So that's super important. Just train like an athlete. One of the biggest things we can do in our 50s and 40s, 50s and things like that, or when we get to this age, is pay attention to our testosterone levels. Obviously, testosterone levels are incredibly important, especially as we get older. We want to keep our testosterone levels up. I'm doing my best to keep mine up naturally. Everything I am right now is natural. Number one, exercise. Exercise and working out. Basically, that's one of the first things you can do to bring your testosterone levels up. So that is one of the reasons I do it. So the harder you train, the more you train, more of an athlete you are, the higher your testosterone levels will be. This is science, it's proven fact. Basically things, whole food diets, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Keep a good balanced whole food diet. That's proven to help your testosterone levels. Things like sleep, lots of sleep. Make sure you get the appropriate amount of sleep. Sleep will help your body produce testosterone as well. Things like that. One of the supplements I take zinc, just because that is proven to be a natural testosterone enhancer, or it'll help your body produce testosterone if your zinc levels are where they need to be. And we lose a lot of zinc in our body. Right now, a lot of from sweat and things like that. There's all the science to it. I'm not going to get into the science of it all. That doesn't really matter. I mean, I appreciate the science, and it does matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. For this particular thing, it doesn't matter. Take zinc, it will help for sure. Vitamin D, being in the sun. Obviously, we can't be in the sun because it's minus 39 Celsius outside right now and 40-mile-an-hour winds. So to be in the sun is almost impossible. So get out in the sun, get vitamin D as much as you can. So there's just some things. There's a lot of things, but those are just some of the points that I believe that when we're training in our older years, I don't feel like I'm almost 52 sometimes. I do feel like I'm about 80 sometimes. So these are just some of the points. There's lots of them, but these are some of the points that us people, us men, us women that like to train at an older age, need to pay attention to. Again, really, really make sure you're warmed up. Pay attention to your recovery time. Don't start training if you're still really busted up and sore. If you have injuries, pay attention to your injuries. Go to a doctor if they're super bad. Don't work through them. Work around them. Don't quit working out just because you got an injury. Do something else. Keep moving. Don't stop moving because you've got a sore knee or you've got a sore shoulder and elbow. Don't stop. Keep moving, but work around it, okay? Not through the pain. We don't want the pain to get worse. Things like that. Train like an athlete. Get your flexibility, your strength, your mobility. Combine it all. Get your body back so it moves like an athlete. That's really important in my opinion at our age. And at any age actually, but at our age for sure. Really pay attention to your diet, your exercise, your sleep, supplements, zinc, vitamin D, things like that to help promote natural testosterone levels. So, quick video on it. And until next time, I'm Warren, gonna go hit the gym, hang out, stay cool, eat good, live well, live the lifestyle that you wanna live, commit to it, make it happen. I'm here to help. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, anything like that. And let me know what you guys want to see or hear, and I'll make it happen. So until next time, I'm Warren signing out. Adios.